Those who argue to stop support for Ukraine do not argue for peace. They argue for appeasement and subjugation of Ukraine. So today I would like to address all those who, after 1,000 days of death and destruction, are asking sincerely, isn't it time for talks? It is first and foremost up to our Ukrainian friends to answer this question. We and them want the war to stop as soon as possible. But while many outside Europe are preoccupied only with the end of fighting, my position is that peace is not simply the absence of war. Peace is a settlement that makes war impossible and unnecessary. And therefore, we must put Ukraine in the condition of negotiating such peace, and this is why the integration of Ukraine in our European Union is for us at the heart of every peace effort.
This is my video update on this Friday midday, August the 30th. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the CNN interview of Kamala Harris and her support Vice President Tim Walz with Dana Bash, whose ex-husband, signed on to the Hunter Biden 51 intel agents, former intel agents, laptop letter, Russian disinformation thing. Yeah, that's Dana Bash's ex-husband, but she was conducting this interview for CNN, very, very controlled, looked to be very scripted interview of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. From what I understand, the interview is actually 48 minutes, like the total time of the interview was 48 minutes, but what they aired, what they're actually presenting to the public is something like 18 minutes. So we have a lot of stuff that didn't make it into the final cut of this interview with Harris and Walz. And you can only imagine what was edited out, huh? But what they kept in the interview, from the segments that I've seen, I haven't seen the whole interview from start to finish. I've just kind of gone through some Twitter posts and have seen what certain accounts have been posting from the CNN interview. It was not good. I don't want to say it was a disaster, but even with everything being controlled by CNN and everything being very scripted, Kamala Harris still messed up a bunch of times. And to be fair to Dana Bash, she did ask some, I don't want to say tough questions, but some questions that forced Kamala to think a bit. For example, asking Kamala Harris, you've been vice president for 3.5 years. Why didn't you make any of the changes that you're talking about as you campaign to be president? So she did ask that question, an obvious question to ask Kamala Harris. From what I understand, the Harris campaign is saying that the policies, her policies, are going to be different, but her values are the same. That's the slogan, the tagline that they're running with. They're also going with the marketing campaign, asking American voters to vote for joy. That's what they're going with Forget about the 3.5, 4 years of Biden-Harris in office. Just vote joy. And they have Kamala Harris with flowers around her and a very retro type of campaign poster. Vote joy in 2024. Yeah, like the past 4 years have been all about joy, right? As Harris was the vice president. It's been a real happy, very joyful 4 years. Inflation, economic difficulties, financial difficulties, war, Gaza, Ukraine, escalating with China. Yeah, it's been all about joy the past 4 years. So just vote for more joy by voting for Kamala. So that's the interview. CNN, Dana Bash, Kamala Harris, and support Vice President Walz. So let's talk about Project Ukraine. And the big story is the F16 that crashed or was hit by an Iskander or who knows what happened if you go by the Pentagon's account. So the first F-16 is gone. The pilot killed as well. The Ukraine pilot was also killed. According to the Wall Street Journal, the F-16 crashed. I believe that is what the Wall Street Journal is running with. One second, let me pull up the title from WSJ. U.S.-made F-16 fighter jet crashes in Ukraine. Kiev recently received 6 of the jets to help in its fight against Russia, a key symbol of U.S. support. So it crashed. That is what the mainstream media is going with. CNN, New York Post, Forbes. Pretty much the narrative right now coming out of the collective West mainstream media is that the jet crashed. And that's all the details that we are getting. The Pentagon is not commenting on this setback, and that's what it is. 6 F-16s have been given to Ukraine. Pilots are very, very hard to come by, at least Ukraine pilots. We've been documenting the year-plus long training process for Ukraine pilots, if you believe that the F-16s are going to mostly be piloted by Ukrainians, though the reports are that the pilot that did die in this crash was indeed a Ukrainian pilot. And the Pentagon is not commenting for obvious reasons. They will not comment on what happened to this F-16. It's very embarrassing for the Pentagon. 6 F-16s, one has been eliminated, is gone. How did this happen? That is what everyone is trying to figure out. What happened? Was it indeed a crash? Did something else happen? According to the MP, the Ukrainian MP, what's her name? Bezugla, I believe is her name. She's talking a lot, this Ukrainian MP. I wonder what her angle is. But she is giving out a lot of information over the past couple of weeks about what is happening in the conflict in Ukraine. And she spoke out about the F-16 crash as well. Let me see if I have what she said bookmarked. If I even have her name. I forget her name. Bezugla, I believe, is her name. Let me see here. Friendly fire, fiasco according to Zero Hedge. Ukrainian army shoots down its own F-16 jet. Pilot killed. This is according to Mariana Bezuglaya. According to my information, the F-16 of the Ukrainian pilot Alexei Moonfish Mess was shot down by the Patriot anti-aircraft missile system due to a lack of coordination between the military units. She wrote on Telegram. The lawmaker criticized the Air Force of the Ukrainian Armed Forces for falsely describing the incident as a crash. Falsely describing the incident as a crash is what she is saying, criticizing the Air Force. Bezuglaya is talking a lot these past couple of weeks, criticizing Syrskyi, criticizing the Ukraine military, criticizing the adventure in Kursk, the misadventure, the failure in Kursk, criticizing the fact that the Ukraine defenses in Donbass, in Pokrovsk, and other areas in Donbass are not properly defended. And now she is criticizing what she is calling a Patriot missile hitting. What she is saying is a Patriot missile hitting this F-16 and causing the F-16 crash. So her story is that it was a Patriot system that brought down the F-16. We are getting some reports from the Russian side of things, from Russian analysts, though I don't believe the Russian Ministry of Defense has come out with an official statement. But on the Russian side of things, according to various Russian analysts, they are saying that the F-16 might have been hit by an Iskander while it was on an airfield or hiding somewhere before taking off. It was hit by a Russian Iskander. This is what some Russian analysts are saying. Not the Ministry of Defense, at least from the time of doing this video, I haven't seen an official statement from the Russian Ministry of Defense regarding the F-16. Get used to stories like this. Many F-16s are going to be eliminated either by accident, because this is a war, or by the Russian military, whether Russian air defense systems or Russian fighter jets taking down the F-16s. The more F-16s that are given to Ukraine, the more F-16s that are going to go down. That's just the reality of what is about to happen to the F-16s, and it's going to be very uncomfortable for the U.S. and for the Pentagon. So much for the wonder weapon. That's what's embarrassing for the Pentagon and for the Zelensky regime. This was built up as the wonder weapon. And the first F-16 to go down apparently was taken down by the U.S., by a U.S. Patriot missile system, by friendly fire. So we have a U.S. intel chief, the spy chief that is in charge of mapping this guy, satellite images and geospatial intelligence. This agency chief, this guy, is saying that Western intel was key to Ukraine's invasion of Russia, Ukraine's incursion plan. This is what this spy chief is saying. And we are also getting reports, I'm getting reports from various sources, from the Russian side of things, which is saying that not only did Ukraine have access to mapping and intel and stuff like that from the U.S. as they were planning their Kursk incursion, but that according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, the CIA played a key role in organizing the Kursk incursion, managing and organizing the Kursk incursion. And the Pentagon, from what I understand, knew what was happening, but they didn't want to hear about it. They knew that the CIA was running point on all of this, but the Pentagon just took a position of, do your thing. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. don't tell me about it. Do what you're going to do, but don't inform the Pentagon about any of this Kursk stuff. Interesting claims. I can't confirm this 100%, but that's the narrative that is coming out of Russia. The spy chief, the mapping geospatial intel chief, his statement is confirmed. He has said that U.S. intel played a key role in maps and satellite images, played a key role in the Kursk incursion. Though I believe he did say that the Pentagon was under the belief that the information was going to be used by Kiev in order to track Russian movement, and they were unaware of the fact that this intel, these images, were going to be used for an incursion into Russia. That is what he said about the Pentagon and how they saw the sharing of info, intel, data, mapping, stuff like that with the Ukraine military. The statement from the CIA, the deputy CIA director yesterday, that's the tip-off that the CIA is kind of behind a lot of this, I believe, in my opinion. Listening to what he said when he was speaking at this think tank event and talking about how this is going to be a long fight for Russia, and now Putin has to deal with Kursk, and this is going to be problematic for the Putin administration inside of Russia. That was the tip-off that the CIA had a lot to do with Kursk, in my opinion. But anyway, that's the latest from Kursk, at least the planning behind Kursk. And from what I understand, the Russian Ministry of Defense, they are still running with the story, the belief, the intel that the objective was indeed the nuclear power plant. That is what they say was the main objective of this Kursk incursion, and now the narrative has changed. Well, the narrative has changed many times, but now the narrative is all about gaining leverage on Russia and causing trouble for Putin. Maybe some sort of regime change if Ukraine can hold on to Kursk territory long enough. That's the new narrative that we're being fed. Zelensky last week said that it was all about a buffer zone. Forget about that. It's not about a buffer zone anymore. It's about holding on to the territory so that it causes trouble for Putin. It's about the dynamics of a long fight in Kursk to damage Putin and to gain some leverage in negotiations. Anyway, that's Kursk. Porky Poroshenko, the former president of Ukraine, he is saying that while Kursk is important, according to the Chocolate King, Ukraine military, they need to move their resources to Pokrovsk and to Donbas, because this is this is where the real fighting is taking place, and Donbas cannot fall. Pokrovsk cannot fall. If Pokrovsk is captured by the Russians, for the Chocolate King, for Porky, then this is the end of the conflict in Donbas. He is urging the Zelensky regime, the Ukraine military, to move resources from Kursk to the Donbas. Of course, Poroshenko knows that if Zelensky did such a thing, it would be humiliating for Zelensky and would probably lead to Zelensky's downfall. And Poroshenko, he has not hidden the fact that he would like to take over as president for Ukraine. A lot of money in Kiev, a lot of money tied to being president in Ukraine, and no doubt Porky would like to be controlling the flows of weapons and money into Ukraine. So move resources from Kursk to Pokrovsk. Poroshenko's right. He's right about that. But for Zelensky to do that would mean the end of Zelensky, and there's no one in a better position to take over for Zelensky than Poroshenko. The foreign minister of Ukraine, Kuleba, he is in Brussels meeting with EU foreign ministers. He met with Borrell, and Kuleba put out a statement yesterday saying that what is holding Ukraine back from winning the conflict against Russia is Western support, specifically Western long-range missiles, permission to use Western long-range missiles to hit pre-2014 Russian territory. Kuleba said that the West's fear of escalation with Russia is what is holding back Ukraine from victory. That's the victory plan. That's the victory plan that Zelensky is talking about and is hinting at. This is what Kuleba is saying in the statement. The way for Ukraine to win now the way for Ukraine to win is long-range missiles, permission to use ATACMS and Storm Shadows and anything else, any other long-range missiles to hit pre-2014 Russian territory. That's how they're going to win this conflict. Hit Russian territory, hit Moscow, hit St. Petersburg, hit airfields deep inside of Russia. Other targets, which I don't want to mention because it could lead to serious escalation if Ukraine does go after certain targets, nuclear targets, maybe even civilian targets. And I wouldn't put it past Ukraine, the Ukraine military going after these targets if they do get permission to use long-range missiles. But that's the plan to victory, according to Kuleba, is the West to not be afraid of this escalation. Because according to Kuleba and according to Zelensky, don't worry, the West should not worry about crossing Putin's red lines. That's the narrative that they've constructed for collective West leaders. That's what they're trying to sell them. Is Putin talks a lot about red lines. The Russian government talks a lot about escalation, and they issue a lot of warnings about escalation, but so far they haven't done anything. And if you give us permission to hit deep inside of Russia, they won't do anything. That's what they're trying to sell collective West leaders on. We'll see what will happen. According to Maria Zakharova, she put out a statement yesterday saying that the Biden White House will give permission to the Zelensky regime, to the Ukraine military, to use U.S. weapons to hit pre-2014 Russian territory. That is what Maria Zakharova is hinting at. That's pretty much what she said in the statement, actually, that she expects the collective West and the U.S. to give permission to Ukraine. Eventually, they will fold to Zelensky's demands. Yermak is in, I believe he's in D.C. He's in the U.S. today, I believe. And he brought with him a list of targets that Ukraine would like to hit inside Russia. And he wants the Biden White House to give approval to hit these targets. The problem with all of this is that it's not going to be Ukraine that's going to be attacking Russia. This is the problem with this entire hit Russian territory plan that Zelensky and his team are pushing for. The problem is that everyone knows, including Russia, that it's going to be the collective West, specifically the United States, that is going to be firing long-range missiles into Russian territory, pre-2014 Russian territory. It's going to be the U.S. that is going to be targeting, providing the surveillance, and ultimately you can make the argument that it's going to be the U.S. and NATO that is going to be firing these missiles and attacking Russian territory. This is the problem with all of this. Is if it was Ukraine and everyone understood that it was the Ukraine military and it was Ukraine missiles, if they had the capability. They don't have the capability, but if they did, then you can make the argument this is war, and Ukraine is attacking Russia, and Russia is attacking Ukraine. But the big problem with all of this, to be fair and objective, is that this is not Ukraine, and it's not Ukraine weapons, it's not Ukraine missiles, it's not going to be Ukraine targeting, it's not going to be Ukraine surveillance, satellites, none of it. Intel, everyone knows that this is going to be seen, rightly so, it's going to be seen as NATO, the collective West, the United States, attacking Russian territory, pre-2014 Russian territory, because according to Russia, attacks on Crimea are also attacking Russian territory, but Crimea has not been designated as a red line area. So that is what is happening. Borrell, he said in a statement that EU member states, I talked about this yesterday, Borrell is saying EU member states should absolutely give Ukraine permission to launch attacks into Russian territory. Of course, the EU and EU member states are not going to do anything without permission from the United States. Once the US gives the go-ahead to Yermak, to the Zelensky regime, then the EU is going to also give the go-ahead. Borrell is pushing hard for war. Borrell is really pushing hard for escalation and for war. The only way the EU can get out of this mess is to continue to escalate, right? That's the only way. The European Union, the European Commission, Borrell, Ursula, all the presidents and prime ministers of the EU, with the exception of Orban and Fico, the only way that they can get out of this mess is to continue to escalate and to go along with Zelensky's victory plan, which is to try and cause chaos and destruction deep inside of Russia so that you can force some sort of regime change or force Putin to the negotiating table. It's a crazy plan, but that's all they've got. I believe the CIA even told Ukraine that is all. That's all they've got. They don't have any other path to victory. The only path to victory they have is this long-range missiles into Russia. Someone was doing something on this pier. Someone was up to no good on this pier. Wow. Let's see. Medvedev, he put out quite a statement. Either yesterday or this morning. I'm not sure when this was posted by Medvedev, but he basically dropped some truth bombs. Medvedev, right? He explained why Ukraine, why the collective West is fighting so hard for Donbas. That is what Medvedev posted on social media. Why are they fighting so hard for Donbas when the west of Ukraine, the Banderites, they have no real connection to Donbas. Donbas, historically Russian, culturally, historically, ethnically Russian. The Banderites in the west, well, we know all about the Banderites in the west of Ukraine and in Lvov. By the way, the Russian Ministry of Defense, they are coming out saying that most of the coordinating for everything that happened in Kursk, the Russian government, from what I understand from my sources, they are saying that the Russian government is saying that most of the coordinating for Kursk was happening from Lvov and not Kiev. Anyway, that's a side note. But Medvedev, he said that they're fighting so hard for Donbas because that's where all of the resources are. All of the big resources, energy, minerals, metals, all of those things are in Donbas. And in his post, Medvedev says that this is all about money. The Banderites, They want to get their hands on all of the money that is locked away in Donbass. And they are in big time debt. Ukraine is in big time debt to the collective West. And they know that the only way they can pay off the debt is if they continue to fight for Donbas. Medvedev said that all of the resources, all of the riches of Ukraine, total 14 point something trillion, he said, and 7 to 8 trillion of that is in all of those resources, according to Medvedev, are in Donetsk and Lugansk. And you have like another trillion or so, which is in Zaporozhye. And you only have something like 600 billion in resource wealth in the west of Ukraine. So the west of Ukraine pretty much has 5% of Ukraine's total wealth. Most of the wealth is in the east, in Donbass, in Zaporozhye, in Kherson, Crimea, the Black Sea area. And that's why the Banderites are fighting so hard for Donbass. That's why the collective West wants them to fight so hard for Donbass, because they have to get paid, according to Medvedev. He says Zelensky is here today. He said Zelensky's gone. Zelensky's going to disappear. Who knows what's going to happen to Zelensky? But the debt, according to Medvedev, is going to stay. So that was very interesting. That was very interesting from Medvedev. So I went to this coffee place called, in Old Town Limassol, down that way, called Wag Me Coffee. And I have to say, if you're ever in Limassol, in Cyprus, definitely check this place out, because their coffee is damn good. I mean, there's some good coffee. Anyway, let's talk about, let's do an update on Durov and what Macron said about the arrest of Durov. I'll summarize what Macron said about the arrest of Durov. He said that he had nothing to do with it. Macron said, I had nothing. Man, I had nothing to do with the arrest of Durov. He said that France is all about free speech and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. And the judicial system is separate from... Hey, feeding the cats. Very cool. Very nice to feed the cats. Yeah, he had nothing to do with it. He said that the judicial system is separate from the executive, from the president, and he said that's a good thing. And he also refuted the reporting from La Canard that he invited Durov to dinner. He says, I wasn't going to have dinner with Durov. I wasn't going to have lunch with Durov. Not back then, not now, not in the future. He said nothing like that was taking place. So you know when Macron is denying it, I mean, he dedicated a whole speech to denying everything about Durov. When he denies it in this way, I'm very suspicious. I'm very suspicious now. Oh, Macron. He explained the whole Durov thing while he was in Serbia, signing a deal to sell fighter jets to Serbia. I believe 8, either 8 or 16. I think 8 Rafale fighter jets is what Serbia is buying from France. Serbia has to buy these fighter jets because Serbia has to balance between collective West, the United States, the EU, and Russia. That's the balancing act that Serbia has to play. So every now and then they have to buy some weapons from the EU, from the collective West, in this case France, in order to take some pressure off, and that's what they did. So that's the statement from Macron. And let's see, how am I doing on time? Yeah, let's do a clown world and we'll wrap this video up. I don't think I have anything else to report for today. A lot of news happening. A lot of news. A whole lot of stuff going on in Brazil with Twitter X and Elon Musk. It looks like X is going to be banned in Brazil. That's how it looks. We will see what's going to happen there. Yeah, let's do a clown world. And in this clown world, we will be going to Nord Stream, the Nord Stream sabotage. According to the German publication Spiegel, they are saying that the main Nord Stream saboteur suspect, Vladimir Z, they keep on calling him Vladimir Z. I don't know why, because we know his real name, but they keep on calling him Vladimir Z. Well, we know why. They want everyone to get used to Vladimir Z, because when they drop Zelensky, when they drop the other Vladimir Z, well, you know, they're going to be conditioned to think of bad things when they drop the president of Ukraine. That's why they continue to go with calling the suspect in the Nord Stream sabotage Vladimir Z, even though we have his full name. They could call him by his full name. They're conditioning us. It's basically what they're doing for when they drop the man in the green t-shirt. But Spiegel is reporting that the main suspect in the sabotage, he was in Germany, and then he went to Poland. And Spiegel is claiming, they are claiming that he used a Ukraine diplomat car registered to the embassy in Ukraine and Poland, and that Poland may have helped this guy drive across the border to Ukraine. So Spiegel is once again putting the blame on not only on Ukraine for helping the saboteur, but they are also once again blaming Poland. Yeah. Germany is trying to put the blame on Poland for Nord Stream. It's obvious. It is obvious that they're trying to put the blame on Poland. So let me read you what is going on here. Let's see. Earlier this month, German media revealed that Berlin had issued an arrest warrant for Vladimir Z, a former Ukraine military diver, who they alleged had planted the explosive charges on the pipeline. Russian outlets have identified the suspect as Vladimir Zhuravlev. We know the guy's name, right? Zhuravlev. I don't know why they don't say Zhuravlev. Instead, they go with this Vladimir Z thing. According to an investigation by Der Spiegel published on Thursday, Zhuravlev was actually in Germany in May and in Poland at the time the warrant was issued. Polish authorities did nothing to detain him, the outlet claimed, and Zhuravlev was able to cross into Ukraine on July 6 in a car belonging to the Ukrainian embassy in Warsaw. Why should we arrest him? For us, he is a hero, Der Spiegel quoted German security officials as paraphrasing their Polish counterparts. They're trying to put all the blame on Poland. They really are trying to put the blame on Poland. Germany, wow. Poland, are you going to let Germany try to put the blame of Nord Stream on you? Come on. Come on now. Don't let Germany do this. Don't let Pirate Schultz do this. Oh boy, what else? Let's see here. The German outlet noted that Zhuravlev and his family entered Germany in May on their way to Denmark and claimed to have identified the apartment in Copenhagen's Bryggen Seed District where Zhuravlev stayed. On May 26th, the family took the ferry to Rostock and stopped in Berlin on their way back to Warsaw. Zhuravlev fled the country on July 6th, crossing the border into Ukraine at Korsova at 6:20 a.m. Security sources told Spiegel that he was in a vehicle with diplomatic plates used by the Ukrainian embassy in Warsaw. Spiegel's security sources claim that Germany is very angry with Poland and will not forget Warsaw's foul play. Okay, let's wrap up this video. So this guy that just blew up, they want us to believe this guy blew up Nord Stream pipeline, right? He blew up Nord Stream pipeline, and then he went around with his family traveling around Europe. Then he traveled around Europe. He got in a car and went to Denmark, hung out in Copenhagen with his family, then went to Berlin, then went to Poland. Oh my God, the story gets more ridiculous. Each passing week, the story gets more and more ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, Germany's very upset with Poland. They're very upset with Poland, and everyone watching from Poland, Germany's not going to forget this foul play. Olaf Scholz will not forget this foul play. That's the video, everybody. That's the clown world. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like the t-shirt I am wearing today. You will find a link to the Duran shop in the description box down below. Take care.